Alrighty. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start getting into some of these questions. So if there are any questions, go ahead and feel free to ask them in the in the comments here over here. Hi Chris. Hey Tomash, great to have you on. Great to see you. Looking for any CTR tips that's click-through rate using bots, microworkers, or anything else? Well, something that is relatively effective. I mean, maybe you're on some type of budget. See, what I have came to find out is I've played with bots. I've bought probably all of them when it comes to any type of CTR and manipulation. And I've came to a realization that if you're running, even if it's microworkers, if you're running Mechanical Turk, if you're running, any type of CTR campaigns, it's always, even if you're using bots, just make sure that you're running a little bit of organic or real or paid traffic. Paid is real to me, through there. Now, in my opinion, if I was running, say, a bot campaign, all right, and I was going out and I was scraping, completely anonymous US proxies or something along those lines, what I would do is I would run a hyper-targeted campaign that is targeting users within a very select, maybe 100-mile radius or something along those lines, and I would be ultra aggressive to get clicks in. All right, so let's move down that list here. So hopefully that's a easy and quick tip for you. So what strategy? Hey, Chris, great to see you, Tomash. Manik, does reviews matter do reviews? Okay, so Manik says, do reviews matter? I feel that if you can have, see, I'm working on some GMB stuff, but I'll tell you this, all right? And this will be within the training. I'm going to dive into this a lot more. If there's particular keywords that are continuously showing up within reviews that are hyper related to your business or brand, so words on the page of your website, but there's a caveat to this. If you have multiple words that show up on your page being discussed within reviews, and those exact same words are being used and utilized over and over again from different reviewers, then I have noticed a benefit. Now, do I think that there's two different types of factors when we're talking about GMBs and local and things along those lines. We're really talking about maps, right? Ranking within the map pack, right? Especially if we're worried about reviews, because on-site reviews can be manipulated, site jabbers can be manipulated, all of them can really be manipulated to an extent, right? But when we're talking about that, I think that if you can have correlation between reviewers and what's on your page, what you talk about, the services that you provide, and along with your citations, it's everywhere, and these words keep showing up, I think that it's a secondary factor as opposed to maybe a top level factor, or a main ranking factor, like would be clicks coming in. Okay, I think that would be more of a stronger factor to rankings, especially once you're on the first page. All right, so hopefully I touched on a lot of things there, but I hope that helped you. Moving down the list here, so Picasso, I like that name, by the way. What is your strategy in how to create content to rank in cities around yours that do not have an office? Any link or a tutorial? So I've came across this with particular clients, all right? When I am going to try, if I don't have an office, okay, this would be my strategy. If I came across somebody that was a service-based business, I would still want to associate that business with a particular place, with a particular entity. I would make the digital illusion that this is a business that operates in this area. So you need to answer that to Google the best way you can. You get what I'm saying? You need to, okay, you're a business in a particular area. You may not have a business, but you provide service within this area, and you need to make it darn clear to Google and to potential customers that this is the area that I dominate. And how do we go about this? Well, specific citations. We go about this by receiving particular traffic from a particular area. We do this by having different types of content on page, what we talk about, referring and referencing other areas. If you're by a bus terminal that is, that is close to everything, associating yourself with local entities is the top way to show entity relevance. I hope that makes sense to you. You need to start associating yourself as an entity within that service area if you don't want to showcase a business. But generally, once that has been implemented, I would come up with an area. If you have a business or you're doing it out of your home or you don't want to talk about it, I would at least maybe go verify GMB, put a location, do something, because the guys that are doing that, or gals, I mean guys as a whole, as in people in general, businesses in general, they are at least validating some type of area base. So that's what I would go about doing. Is giving you a tactical, you know what the tactical is. On page needs to talk about these things. There needs to be other digital references talking about these things. My business is here. My business does this. My business operates in this vicinity. Hopefully that helps you. All right. So, moving down the list. What is your strategy? All right. Picasso, black hat, white hat. So I touched on that, Picasso. New question. All right. So how do you create original content if you do not have the budget to spend and if you cannot write well? Well, this is exactly what I do, because generally, all right, if you say you're taking in clients, all right, let's say that that's always the way I've looked at it, right? Because the more money that I can save is the more money for me, right? The guy who can get to the finish line without spending that spends the least is really the winner, right? Because anybody can start spending, pump out a bunch of content, buy the best links, do this. But if I can reach that finish line and save money, which means I made more money and I can get there in less time. So I've saved time and money, who wins? So that's always the goal. So generally, I'm always going to outsource it, but you can outsource your content to somebody that maybe lives somewhere where X amount of dollars is worth a lot more to them than it is to you. You see? In many foreign countries, it's a lot cheaper to buy content, but their writing may not be up to par. However, with a SEO background, which you may have, it might be worth your time. Buy the cheapest content you can, get it into yourself, and then make your own edits. All right? You see what I'm saying? Make your own SEO edits. That's how I would go about it, because spending the time to sit there and write is absurd, but spending a lot less time to make the fixes that are going to be very relevant for search engines, that you can do. So that would be my best advice there. Buy cheap content and then SEO it. That's what I do. That's what I would recommend. But because you're going to pay for quality, right? So if you're on a budget, that's what I would do. That is what I do. So hopefully that helps you out. Tamash says, okay, about G stacking. Are there any advantages in creating many G sites? Each G site for one of many services on a money page, over one, which is about all of them at once. All right, so a G stack is one stack. There's a stack. The advantage isn't about just the G site, but it's all of the entities that build up the G site. So the advantage to creating more is not an advantage unless that niche or that keyword cluster is calling for that much relevancy, that much power. So first and foremost, I would start with my one stack, build it out completely. If we're talking about G stacks, build it out completely, take your time, do it correct, right? Take care of all of your secondary tier and third tier links coming in, build as much power and relevancy that you possibly can, point it at the entity that you're trying to boost. Give it 30 days, give it 60 days. Don't be in too much of a rush. You have to give Google enough time to catch up. But after your 30 days, you want to see, and I'm sure you're tracking it all the way, how much more power needs to be behind this. And that's going to give you your answer. Do I need to build out another stack? Because generally we start out with keyword stacks. They're all keyword related. Everything is about keyword. The second stack that I build out is about relevancy, especially if I'm in a local niche, which generally if I'm doing stacks, it's for medium competition keywords or within a local space. All right. So hopefully that helps you out, my friend. Matthew says, should we still geotag images we upload to our GMB? You know, I'm going to talk about a little bit about this, but I don't think that your photos need to be geotagged. Your photos may not need to be, but I think that any other photos that you're receiving, if they are any type of added benefit that they can add to that image as it's coming in, right? Say customers, things along those lines, that is more of a benefit than you geotagging your own images. All right. So Matthew, hopefully that helps you out, but I'm going to talk about that in the training. But yeah, Matthew, hopefully that helps you out, my friend. All right, brother. So, Tommy, hey, Chris, seen a bold statement earlier in another group on the admin said schema doesn't affect Google ranking. I'd like to get your feedback. I would never, Tommy, I would have to disagree. I would never say that schema does not affect ranking. I'm in the camp that schema is a ultra powerful entity building part of your SEO. All right. I think that schema helping Google understand your page is a benefit. It may not be a ranking factor, but as far as helping Google completely understand your page, which is ultimately the goal, we need Google to understand so it showcases the best result. We want them to show our best result. So to make the best result, we need to be optimized. One of the pieces that makes a perfectly optimized page is giving Google everything about our page, which includes our structured data and our unstructured data. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out, Tommy. Jim says, Jim Ross, how many city-specific pages can you have on a website until it begins to be too many? Jim, I feel that you can have, so here's the thing. Say you're doing a search, all right? Say we're doing a search for whatever the service plus city. Now, say you do that same search like this service plus city. You know how you put in variations, but the same results are going to show up? The question really lies is, how many of those different variations can I tackle with one page, right? So it's going to be one city, one service as one page. You need to encompass all of the keywords that you possibly can. Not keywords, one keyword, one page. Let me see if I can rephrase this. I don't think there is a limit, first and foremost. But secondly, I don't think that you should be tackling the same keyword clusters on a local site. You tackle one city, one service, one page, and then you move on. Now, if you want to start hitting secondary, you may want to start creating orphaned pages, all right? By, just, it'll have the overall page, but it won't be all interlinked. I've seen that happen quite frequently to success. So there is no limit. I would just be careful that you're not stepping on your own toes is really what I'm getting at, all right? So hopefully that helps you out. Neil says, hey, Chris, were the reviews you were discussing earlier on site reviews or reviews through GMB? Yeah, I was touching on a little bit of both. And if you are enjoying the just so people find it, please A thumbs up helps the video get found. That's how YouTube works. Please, if you don't like it, you can go the other way. That's perfectly fine as well, too. But as far as the reviews, I was touching on both. I think that reviews on page play another part, depending on if they're, like, say you're using WordPress, if they're plug-in added, like they're embedded in, maybe they're there through a frame like SiteJabber does or whatever the case is. Maybe that's a little different, but if you are creating reviews from your customers, putting them on your page, that's content. That's text, right? That can add to your rankings, whether it's up or down, depending on that section where it is, if you're over or under optimized, all right? So reviews can have effect in organic local rankings, and for GMB, I think they have an effect. But like I mentioned before, there's some elements that help that, all right? I don't think that it's a major ranking factor, but I think it's helpful. Moving down the list, I think I covered that pretty good. Mark says, so the GMB course, Chris. Oh, Mark, I'm working on it, brother. Little by little. It's a juggling act. It really is. I mean, between I have 10, I took in 10 clients now. I'm working on the trainings. And then, family, and then trying to stay relevant, still put out content, still be in the forums. It's a juggling act, brother. But yeah, I'm working on it. There's never a rush. Never a rush, So, all right. So if you have different pages for each city, hopefully that helps you, Mark. So if you have different pages for each city that I serve, does it help to geotag images on each city's page? I don't think that the benefit or the boost of doing this is going to be worth the time. If it's something that you can have done cheaply, that's time efficient, would I have it done? I probably would. But do I think that it's going to provide the type of edge to sit there and like really dwell on it? Probably. I probably wouldn't. But if you can get it done that's efficient with your time and your budget, I would do it. But it's not, I would focus maybe on some other things first. All right, brother? So hopefully that helps you out, Jim. Picasso, thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. Never a problem. I volunteered. I'm happy to help. All right. Do you use local business schema for the whole website or for a few pages only? Well, I use the schema and the micro data. I use what is relevant for the page. All right. So I would use it throughout the site, but only use what's relevant for that page, and don't just mark up things just to mark up things. All right. So first and foremost, I would always analyze my competition and see what types they are using. But then I would start looking at some of more of my structured data instead of unstructured. Like JSON would be an unstructured data, but start looking at your structured data, right? And then start adding elements to maybe provide a little bit of an edge. All right. So hopefully that helps you out. Carl says, I'm moving down the list here. Hey, Chris, I have a niche where I cannot get the GMB to pop. No one is showing apart from the businesses with a knowledge drop-down menu. How do I change this? Yes, if a GMB is not popping, generally it's going to be if Google isn't finding it relevant for that query to pop GMB, it's going to be hard. Now, if you really want to, if it's a profitable niche, right, which I hope that it is, Carl, you can really hammer away at, building your citations, building relevance, building pages, building links to the citations. Just really people doing local searches looking for that. Then you may get it, but I think that it's going to be a long and hard road, Carl. I really do. Because obviously the search intent for that query isn't going to show that GMB. So to get it there, you need to do all of that manual work, so that could be hard. It's going to be difficult, hard and fast, my friend. A hard, long road. Is it doable? Yes, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Tommy says, cheers. Cheers to you. I love this. The different, the different ways, like the hellos, the goodbyes, the welcomes, the how are yous in these different countries. Like cheers. There's so many of them. But Tommy, it's great to see you. Happy to answer any questions. Cheers to you, Mark. Neil, appreciate it. I appreciate your time and coming on and asking. Tomash says, where is the best place for location-specific contact us page in website architecture? Is it okay to place it in the footer? I think that it is okay to place it in the footer, but I think that you really need to take a look and see, is it an index no follow? It seems to be okay in the footer. I don't see why it would cause an issue, but be very specific of where everything is going. And just I may just take a look at your site and see, is that Outlook, are people going from that page to another page? From the contact, are they going back to the SERP, or do they still have a query within your site? So I think it's okay to have within the footer, but maybe an index no follow might be okay, unless maybe you're using that page to power the rest of the site. I don't think it'll be an issue, but I think that it's based on your site, okay? Hopefully that helps you out. And remember, I'm giving my advice as general as I can, because I'm not looking at anyone's site. I'm just, what have I seen? What have I done? How, in the last 11 years, has it caused issues? Has it not? Is this a problem? And I go through this a lot. Like, a lot of my focus is lead generation, local, and affiliate. So hopefully that helps you. All right. So, yes, it's a national solar niche, so it might be worth it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that it may be. They might not have caught up to the niche yet, or they may not have determined that there's enough local eyeballs to validate a GMB showing. So it's going to be a long road, Carl. So Tommy says, last question, Chris. Null words like not or no. So those are stop words, right? Or null. Yeah, I could be looked at a little bit differently. So yeah, okay, and anyway, should we stay away from them when it comes to domain names? I'm getting mixed views on it. I would, if it makes sense for your brand, if it makes sense for what you are trying to do, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want it as a domain, okay? If it makes sense for you, run with it. Because at the end of the day, as long as I hate to say this because it's so but if you're providing the best answer for the query, right? I think that it's irrelevant, what the domain name is, all right? So I hope that helps you. I wouldn't stay away just because, there's a no or a null or something like that. I would do what's best for you and your brand first. And I would look at my competition. So I wouldn't stay away from it unless it just isn't, it just sounds cool, then maybe stay away. But if it's good for you and your brand, I'd run with it. Give it a try. I'd give it a try and start looking at some expires, right? Start looking around. Did anybody else fail by using that? Have you looked? Start searching, go to expired, whatever it is, .net. And they have a huge, vast selection. Start looking at the sites and start looking for the no's and the nulls. Look them up, and take a look. Was there a lot of failures? And then start looking at the content. Look at the link profiles. Was it because of that? I find it hard that it would be, So hopefully that helps you out, brother. Moving down the list here, thank you. Always my pleasure, Thomas. So Picasso, after I were to fix website problems, on-page SEO for each page, and has the website optimized, what else would I do? How do you keep growing the website and keep ranking higher? So that's a massive question, and that is the question of SEO. And at the end of the day, Google's job is to find fresh, important content to serve to searchers. So to continue to grow and to continue to rank in your niche, you need to have the best answers and have the freshest ideas that answer the questions that are being asked, right? So what needs to be done? Well, just like any strategy, what needs to be done is consistent content. Consistent content, whatever your schedule is. I don't think that it has to be weekly or bi-weekly, but I think that maybe consistent content, consistent links coming in, consistent traffic, consistent presence, consistent, you see, just consistency within a niche, links, content, links, content, links, content, bring traffic, higher rankings. Should be a song. Da, 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 da. Oh, I'm silly. All right, moving down the list. Good idea. I'll get on that. Yes, Tommy. Yeah, have a quick look and take a look. I'd be looking for those specific types of domains and see if you're seeing a lot of failures, then that would give me my answer. Maybe there's just something written in the code that's just really hurting these domains, but I can't see why it would be. One moment, please. I need a beverage. So I was waiting on this particular part, a HDMI to micro USB. I want to set everything up. I'm wondering backgrounds and stuff. I'm not sure. But in any case, do we have any questions here? If not, I'll hop off. All right. So, after you fix the website, good idea. I'll get on that. Okay. I will listen to that album while I do. Cool. Yeah, it's quite the hit. It really is. So it seems like maybe the questions have slowed up, or maybe there aren't any other questions. Do we want to build some links? I found some sites. Do we want to build some links? I just did a scrape before. I think some of them are no follows, but they're all EDUs. I have some weird one. MDE, Truman.edu, PSU, so that's Penn State, and I found another Harvard blog. And this is insane. I mean, I know Ma's authority is irrelevant, but I've been doing a campaign like as a little test. So I've been blasting my site, not my site, not like my email catching site, Chris Palmer Marketing, the email site, but other sites with just no follows. And it's really interesting that I use SEMrush and Moz. I saw that the domain authority, and the only thing within Moz I'm talking about, right? I know that it doesn't matter, but it's interesting to see that I'm only pointing no follows at the site, and it's rising. I mean, it's been an ongoing test. I've been scraping for fun and finding as many, and I've been specifically looking for EDUs, as many no follows as I could possibly find, and just going at it. But they have to be EDU because of the site niche. It's just interesting to me that it's rising. I was just babbling to wait for some questions. So I think we see some here. So you recently mentioned Drupal. What is your idea of using it for SEO? Yeah, I spoke to a gentleman, Ruan Moreno, him and Chase, were a large inspiration for me to start sharing my knowledge, which I've said multiple times. I used to watch them and think, hey, I know, I not more, maybe more, but maybe less, but I liked how they did things, right? And I was like, wow, they're about my age. I can share information on there, because I was scared at first. I was terrified to be on camera. But anyway, I spoke with Ruan, and I was using WordPress. I usually use Linux, but he switched all of his site and didn't lose any rankings at first. And he switched from WordPress to Drupal. His site didn't fall. The site looks beautiful, I think. He did an excellent job. It's super fast. And as far as SEO, I think that as far as scalability for speed and for using more themes and having stuff that is just a little bit more SEO friendly, I noticed that some of the schema is a little bit easier to use. I like the formatting of it. I think for SEO, it's a little bit faster. It's better for scaling, and a lot of the templates and the way they look are a little bit different than what's usually out there. So for SEO, I think, and for larger sites, scalability, ease of use, and speed, I'm not saying that it's a better option than WordPress, but I think that it is a viable option. I think that it's an excellent option. And I think that it looks really good. So yeah, that's what I mentioned. But I was always, I'm a normal Linux straight HTML sites for coupon codes and promo codes. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I haven't implemented anything with it. I'm just going off of what I've seen from him and what he has. So hopefully that helps you, but he's very approachable. If you want to talk to him, I mean, I guess you could message him. All right, so moving down the list, say something on PPC. Say something on PPC, pay per click. What do you want to talk about? Well, I'm thinking about launching maybe some ads revolving. I'm seeing that YouTube is starting to get a little bit more popular with the ad stuff. So I was thinking maybe doing something around that, running ads on YouTube, because it's relatively simple. But I don't know, ask me a question and maybe I can help you. That's all I can say about PPC for now. Picasso, let's do it. Will I redesign my site? Do I need to do anything? I know that Google Cache does it. It takes a month. My old URL to be gone from Google. So you're redesigning your site, and is there anything that you can do for the cache to catch up? Well, the crawling is the crawling. You can submit your sitemaps. You can ask for indexation. You can send your links. The cache is the cache. You're going to have to wait for them to recache. All right. Is there anything that you can do? I would try to keep it as similar as possible. But aside from that, the cache is the cache. You have to wait for it to put it back in. All right. So I hope that helps you. I know you were looking maybe for something that, I know that you run that happens a lot, but a quick redesign is not any trouble. Just make sure that the text on the page is still the same, URLs and titles and things along those lines. All right. So when it comes back for a recrawl, it's looking at the same thing. Style